Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. So I'm back again with another video. It's rather, you can say this is a follow-up video to the Pinetone video that I did the other day. So last week I got Pinetone and I had told you at that point of time that I had ordered a discovery set from a fellow fraghead and that came through. So I thought, okay, let me do some testing of this, which I did, and I thought, okay, let me give you my first impressions of this particular discovery set and the fragrances that are there from Heavenduft. The one fragrance that I'm missing out on this particular juncture is Despacito. I don't have that, but I will probably get that at a later point of time and do impressions of that as well, right? Now let's start with Pinetone, right? So for Pinetone, when I first sniffed it that day, I kind of at that point of time didn't really recognize this particular scent profile, but after some time I realized this was a very similar DNA that I know very well. And then I got comments also saying that does this smell like this and so forth. So I'll tell you what this particular fragrance smells like. This is basically a pineapple fragrance, but you will see that this notes has got pineapple, blackcurrant, it's got oak moss, it's got birch, and it's got some woody notes and all of that. So when you kind of smell this particular fragrance, you immediately recognize this DNA because this is very close, or it's a DNA that is very popular in the world for the popular fragrance Creed Aventus, right? Now, Creed Aventus alts are plenty, but one of the most popular alts is the Club de Nuit Intense Man EDT, right? I have this particular fragrance here. So when you compare that, I feel this particular fragrance leans a lot towards that particular DNA, and that's what this particular fragrance is going for, but it is missing on a couple of things, right? So for me, the primary element that was missing on this particular fragrance was the performance. Okay, now maybe this could be first impression, so I would still give the benefit of doubt and I will do a full wearing of this particular fragrance and let you know, because what I did is I also have an alt of another house and I put that on my right hand and let this on the left to try and see what is the DNA and what happens. And on my right hand, the one that I had really performed exceptionally well. And while this was kind of going off after a 2 to 3 hours time, that was still on my skin for a long time. But if you look at DNA of Creed Aventus and you want something in budget at about 875 rupees is what I got this 50 ml for, I think you can go for this. Definitely, it's a lot more fruitier, pineapple, that kind of thing. It's a very good take on the EDT version of Club de Nuit Intense Man, which is not very smoky as such. I think the EDP is much better as such, right? So this is that, right? So this is about that particular fragrance. So if your Pinetone is basically for me a Club de Nuit Intense Man EDT. Then in this particular discovery box, there were 4 fragrances, and this was a big surprise, and I'll tell you why this particular discovery set makes for one of the best discovery sets that I've experienced. Okay, so the first fragrance that I have here is called Coastal India. Okay, now this is very popular among people because this has got a DNA that is also very recognizable by a lot of people. Let me do one quick spray. Okay, small spray is enough. This is a DNA of the fragrance, which is very popular in India, especially everybody wants to have a flanker of this in some form or the other. I'm talking about Rasasi Hawas. Okay, so the original Hawas, which has got that bubblegummy, aquatic, a blue, not really blue, but a bubblegummy sweet kind of a fragrance. That is what this particular DNA is about, but it's done a little differently. There are other elements on this particular fragrance which makes it even more interesting, and this lasts like crazy and this projects like crazy. So this is really good. So if you've been specifically looking for Rasasi Hawas as an alternative, and if you don't want to look at an alt house making it, then definitely Coastal India is up there. So this is one to get if you're looking for a Rasasi Hawas alternate. Okay, so performance is good as well. So this is again my first impression, so I will do a detailed video later. Now, Azure, on the other hand, this is more of a citrusy, musky kind of a fragrance that I felt, okay? And somehow I felt this was a fragrance which has also got sweet tones to it, but it's more lighter, and compared to these two, this was still lighter in performance is what I felt. And probably for somebody who wants a more softer scent, with a little bit of citrus, with a little bit of musky element, I think that is this is the type of fragrance that you should go for, and it's got a little bit of sweetness to it as well. So Azure is that. Now the biggest surprise for me on this particular fragrance discovery set are 2 fragrances, one called Brim. Okay, let me do a quick spray of this particular fragrance. Now this particular fragrance has got a lot of citrus elements. It's got aldehydes, it's got lavender, it's got iris, it's got patchouli, sandalwood, and then sea note. Now this particular fragrance was a complete surprise for me because I did not expect this from this house at all. This is a beautiful floral, woody, citrusy, musky, a marine kind of a fragrance, but done exceptionally well, and the scent profile is fantastic. Now, this is certainly for people who like complicated fragrances, who like fragrances which are soft, but yet it can be, mass pleasing, get a lot of attention, and all of that. Fantastically done, really, really good. Although this was not as loud as something like coastal India and all, but I would say that this is a little softer in terms of a scent profile projection, but it's a scent profile that is really done well. So very beautiful. I mean, I was really surprised with this, right? So Brim is really, really nice if you want to look at a nice aquatic, marine, iris based, patchouli based fragrance, but yet with the with freshness in it, because iris, lavender, sandalwood, all of them are generally evening wear fragrances, fragrance notes. But when you add things like citrus elements and then all of these, it makes it a very fresh kind of a fragrance. So something very unique and nicely done, right? But the biggest surprise on this particular fragrance discovery set definitely has to be Chief. Okay, now Chief has got a lot of things going. From a notes element, this particular fragrance has got a lot of citrus elements like mandarin, then it's got tea notes, it's got rhubarb, it's got mint, it's got ginger, it's got star anise, it's got aldehydes, woody notes, and all of that, right? And this particular fragrance was a stellar fragrance, guys. If you have not experienced Chief, I'm telling you, you're missing out on something. Oh my god, this I feel is a niche, or that level of a fragrance at a unbelievable price point. And my god, this particular fragrance opens up so beautifully. I feel this particular fragrance opens up with musky elements, with citrus, rhubarb, mint, all of that, and then transitions into more minty, spicy elements, and then moves into dry down into nice sandalwood, cedar, and patchouli and vetiver and all of that. Amazing scent profile, loud, like crazy loud. You need just a few sprays to put it on, and I'm sure everybody will seek attention. Most importantly, the kind of transition that happens on this particular note is fantastic. It opens with that citrusy, musky element, quickly moves towards star anise, grapefruit, ginger, that kind of note profile, and then moves into a dry down where there is woody notes, vetiver, all of that, and at the same time loud, projecting, mass pleasing, amazing scent profile. And I think this is a gem. And I think if you like how I did the wow fragrances of 2023, I can tell you this is one of them for 2024. Fantastic. Now, what I really think was amazingly done by Heavenduft in their discovery set is, I think this is the ideal discovery set that you should buy for India for the weather that we have, right? You get fragrances that are performing crazy in this heat, and I think they have done all of that, keeping that in mind, that you should get fantastic performance out of all of them. Yet the signatures of most of the profiles of the DNA, popular DNA, are there. Like this is an Aventus DNA, you have the Havas DNA, and yet Chief and Brim are two fragrances that stand out in the way they are presented and the way they perform. So I feel this is a type of discovery set that you should blind buy, because you will go right, because you can wear this for every day, and in good heat it will still perform and do a lot of justice for the value that the fragrances bring in. So this was my first impression about Heavenduft, Pinetone, and the 4 other fragrances that I was talking to you about. And I really feel this is a fantastic discovery set to get, especially for the coming summers. You will definitely have a variety of fragrances to try. While I would say Havas and Aventus are a very popular DNA that everybody kind of knows, you should definitely focus on Brim and Chief, which I really think are fantastic fragrances done really well. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe and share. You're watching The Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. See you until the next time. Goodbye for now.